It's the Funny Comics Fan Club. Yes.
Yes. Hello.
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 Hello, one and all.
Welcome to the Funny Comics Podcast.
No, Funny Comics Fan Club.
That's it. The funny. I was going to say it wrong.
Say it again.
Welcome.
Dr. Mark.
All right.
It's the Funny Comics
Fan Club.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Hooray for
Hooray
that.
for that. I say yes. I'm Dr. Mark Hibbert. Hello. I'm joined by.
And you are joined by me, not Dr. John Dredge. Yeah. That's all I've got to say about that.
What more is there to say?
We're going to get straight down to the heart of the matter now, aren't we? Because we're going to tell you exactly what we're looking at today.
What's
we
that
are
then?
looking at
Yes, exactly.
a comic.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's called Wow.
Wow number 41 from the 12th of March 1983.
16 pence, so a little bit pricey.
They're going up, aren't they, as we go along through time? Gone are the days of the 2.5p comic of yesteryear.
Wow lasted 56 issues, I believe.
That's right, 1 year and 2 weeks before it merged with Whoopee comic.
Yeah, so again, we're looking at an issue that was very much towards the end of the run.
Yes, so we are, because last time we looked at Hoot was coming to the end of its run there as well, and Hoot was the last, if at least one of the last DC Thompson weekly comics, and this is the last, or maybe one of the last IBC comics. So after this is like a sort of almost a last hurrah of let's stick something out and see what happens.
I remember getting a couple of these, mainly because there were free gifts involved. Yeah, anytime there was a number one issue, I usually tried to buy it.
Because I never got this, because this is like, we would have both have been about 12 at this point.
Yeah, I was 13,
Yeah, so I was like, and I'm buying 2000 AD now, I don't buy any of these sort of comics anymore.
Yeah. Well, I might have been coming to the end of it as well. So yeah, the front of said comic, what do we think of this? It's a nice big colourful.
It's very colourful, isn't
cover.
it? It's all colour. It's all lots of blue, and it's using so the front page has a strip called Shipwreck School. Now it's quite a complicated idea behind this.
No, really.
Really, yeah. So there's a school.
I've got that bit, yes.
And they've been shipwrecked.
Hence the title.
Yeah. And they're on a desert island. They've clearly been there a long time at this point because all the clothes are all raggedy and stuff.
I like the fact that the head teacher has still got his mortarboard on, even though it's ragged. He's still wearing it. He's still trying to impose some sort of discipline on his class.
And it's funny this actually. Now you say that because this is like 1983. I was in school at this point. I'd never, ever in my school career seen a teacher with a mortarboard on. And yet that signifies teacher in all of these comics, doesn't it?
Yeah. That is the funny comics stereotypical look for a head teacher.
Well, maybe that's why in Cheeky comic, when it was Cheeky's pal teacher, he did not have a mortarboard on. So maybe that's why he felt like this was a modern sort of teacher. Maybe that was going on.
Yeah. Because this is like a mixture, once again, of old-fashioned and trying to be modern.
It is, yes. Yeah, very much so, yeah.
But what did you think of this shipwreck school malarkey?
Well, I was surprised that, like, normally when a school gets shipwrecked, within minutes the children are, like, trying to kill each other and eat each other. That's generally what happens. Not so here, you'll be relieved to hear. In this one, what they do is they get a load of turtles together. They write out a message on the turtle. So they were SOS, help, savers on these turtles. And then they send the turtles out into the waters to look for help. And then, incredibly, who would have thought this would happen? The turtles get all mixed up. One turtle says, "Phew, it's a bit rough, I'm going back." So some of the turtles come back, other turtles get a bit mixed up. Who'd have thought that would happen? Because turtles are notorious for their formation swimming, aren't they? I thought that's how they work. And then a boat comes by, and hilariously, what's happened is the turtles then just reform into order, as turtles will.
Yeah.
And it says, "Sail, soups." And all the people on the boat, the captain comes along and he says, "Captain speaking, I don't suppose anyone wants to land on this island and buy some cheap soup."
Tee-hee. No thanks, Captain.
And the boat sails off, the end.
Yeah. As you say, it is complicated.
It's complicated, yeah.
It's not a straightforward story by any means.
It's not. It's an original story. I don't think I've ever seen this before. I suppose Shipwreck School. We have not had a school shipwrecked before.
It's a nice idea, But I mean, everybody's forgotten about it.
Oh yes, oh yeah. But it's Mike Lacey drawing it. He's drawn so many things.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? It's all right. I think that's all we can say about it. I mean, Shipwreck School did not go on to star in a spin-off comic of its own.
No, there was no Shipwreck School movie
because there's no focus. There's no star character on which to focus. So it's all a bit wishy and indeed washy.
Indeed, but I don't think that matters so much, does it? Because this comic is so full. It's 32 packed pages, and you can tell how packed it is because unlike most of the other comics we looked at, it's got a contents page.
I don't think there's any other comic that I've seen this in. A table of contents, ladies and gentlemen. So, for example, you can see not only that Shipwreck School is on page 1, but that it's continued on page 2.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
But yeah, I don't know, I've never seen it in a funny comic like this.
No, because it was in Marvel Madhouse, which is decidedly not a funny comic, we discovered.
That's right, yes.
And only had 4 things in it, whereas this has got 32 pages of stuff.
And you can tell where the Star Turns answer page is.
Oh, where is the Star Turns answer page?
It's 21, Mark.
Thanks, John, that was really helpful.
Always useful, isn't it? And you've even got, I mean, they've gone out of their way to welcome us, haven't they? Because they've got a little note from the editor saying, "Hi, readers.
Oh, hello.
Who are your top 10 sports personalities?" That's the question we asked the WoW readers who took part in our, in our latest survey.
So they've done them before.
You know, there's a few things going on. There's some work being done here.
There is, and I think that's really interesting, isn't it? Because this is very much engaged with the reader.
It really is. Unlike last time when we had Hoot, that had nothing to do with the reader.
Didn't want nothing to do with it.
No, yeah. They're telling us what to do here a little bit.
Oh,
they're saying they're a bit stricter. They say enjoy reading the results. We'll be the judge of that. and chuckling at all your regular favourites in this week's fun-packed issue. Your friend, the editor. Thank you.
Well, shall we have a look at the top 10 sports personalities? Because we know what page.
Here
they are.
So the point of this was that they did some sort of survey. WoW did a survey.
Yeah.
They phoned up 10 readers by the look of it.
There's a map showing where they were.
Yeah. So the point of this is to find out the favourite sports personalities of a selection of readers, and it turned out that 3 were their favourites, so there wasn't much of a survey really.
Well, the full top 10 is down here at the bottom, and what I love about this is the list of their top 10. It's like going, yes, welcome to 1983.
Right,
there is nothing more nice. Can you guess? Oh, well, you don't need to, you can see it. But the number 1 person is, of course, it's Ian Botham. Of course, it's Ian Botham. Number 2, Sebastian Coe. Yeah. Number 3, listeners, that's right, it's Kevin Keegan. And you've got like Steve Davis is in there, Duncan Goodhue, Daley Thompson, all your favourites. Steve Avett, no. Nobody likes Steve Avett. He can't be.
Was Kevin Keegan his real name?
It was indeed his real name.
Because it sounds like Bruce Banner or something.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah. He was a superhero, was Kevin Keegan. I mean, like, we forget now how much people idolise Kevin. I remember watching the 1982 World Cup or something, and just seeing Kevin Keegan coming on at the end. And by the way, did you know that Ian Botham also used to play for Scunthorpe United in the football? Yes, everybody knew that back then. That's the thing.
They did. But yeah, it's nice that they're bothering to reach out to find out who's reading and who isn't.
I thought it was great.
Moving along to TV Quiz Kids, the centre spread. This is full colour, unlike most of this comic. This is full colour, and it just springs out at you. It's really vibrant. You've got red, blue, green, yellow. What else do you want? And it's by my favourite artist, J. Edward Oliver. And it's, how would one describe it? It's lots of little puzzles in comic strip form. So you've got one that's called Captain Zap Space Detective.
Not Captain Zep Space Detective.
Which was on at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was a sort of puzzle type space TV game show thing as well. But this is like 5 or 6 panels, and you have to try and guess which monster comes from which planet. It's really cool, actually.
You don't guess it, John. I did this quiz. I did this, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, you managed to get the right answer, did you?
Of course, I got the right answer.
You probably sneaked to look at the answer by turning the page over.
You can't read it. It's upside down, John. You can't read the answer because it's upside down.
I'd forgotten the complications involved in that.
It's impossible to get the answer when it's upside down. Yeah, I thought the puzzles were... I do like a puzzle.
Yeah. And also, typical J. Edward Oliver style... On the report that Captain Zap is reading, it says abolish Tuesdays.
It does.
Because he always has these little details in. And again, you've got, in the background of one of these strips, you've got a small green cube with a handle, which is right up my street. I love that.
You do love that.
And there's a little strip called Monstermind. J. Edward Oliver was obsessed with Mastermind. because in another comic we had, he'd written a strip called Mastermind, and this is like a spoof of Mastermind again, but it's more like done as a little quiz, and it's really well drawn.
It's gorgeous, isn't it? Call My Fluff down here,
which is brilliant. A little sort of another little quiz in the style of Call My Bluff.
Yeah. And it's all caricatures of TV personalities. There's a Lenny Bennett
or Benny Lennett.
Benny Lennett is there. Yeah, Matthew Colley, who's Matthew
Kelly.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it couldn't be any more 1983. This page.
It looks gorgeous though, doesn't it? And seeing J. Edward Oliver in full colour, he's fantastic.
J. Edward Oliver in full flow. There he is.
Fantastic.
Turning over the page, straight back to black and white, to a strip called KBR, which stands for Kids Band Radio. So in 1983, I guess Citizens Band Radio was a craze in the UK.
It was. Well, there was in 2000 AD around this point, there was a strip called Ace Trucking Company, where Ace Garp talked in sort of a CB language, and there've been quite a lot of them. We've seen this before, haven't we? There's quite a few strips where people go, CB, it's CB language. And it's like skateboards. It's just one of those things that were around at this period.
Yeah, and so this is drawn by, I do know this is drawn by David Muslin.
That's him. Who did Smackula?
Smackula, our old favourite. It's like, so it's a kids' version of CB. Did kids have CB radio?
No,
were they allowed it?
No, of course they didn't.
No. So I suppose this is quite cool for kids to see this. Oh, look at this. Imagine we had a CB radio for us.
I guess the CB radio here is like a transistor radio of 15 years, because there's loads of super kids have a transistor. Because imagine having your own transistor radio. Just imagine.
Well, they used to give that away they didn't give it away, but you could buy it in Kay's catalogue. They would have toy walkie-talkies every Christmas, and I would have given my left ear for one of them, which wouldn't have been helpful. No. But kids love the idea of communicating. God knows what they think of with these. They've got everything now.
They've got everything now.
They've got mobile phones.
Oh, kids today, they've got everything now, haven't they? Yes, they have.
We had to make do with 2 tin cans and a bit of string. I still do, actually. Yeah, this is an interesting idea for a strip. So the kids have got their own little radio system here, and they're cycling along on their bicycles, and they've got their own jargon as well. And at the end of the comic strip, there's a glossary of terms. So, for example, 10-4 means okay, bears means police. So you can only really understand this strip if you look at this glossary at the end of the story.
And they're not particular. But then it's like, shortly after, there's another page, isn't it, that's related to this, which is KBR Corner.
That's right.
Where kids write in with their own KBs. And it's like I was going, hang on, they're just making this up, aren't they?
KBR Corner. It's like you can write in with little sort of bits of jargon and communicate with your fellow KBR people or something, but there's no incentive. I mean, there's no prize.
No, there isn't. No,
it's just like write in, please.
Well, maybe this is the point that you're saying. Like the kids did not have a CB radio,
so they had to use the comic.
I've just written a letter to communicate. Yeah, 10-4. There's some fuzzy bears on my tail. Tuesday, and goes, it's Thursday now. So you're basically being processed by the courts by this time.
Someone's written in. Craig Landis from Manchester has written in. He says, "My Kiba brother drives a jumble wagon. The only trouble is that he never moves far enough out of my K-rig lane's range for me to get a chance to yak with my pogos." Good job he wrote in, because otherwise we wouldn't have known.
Wouldn't know that.
As my dad would have said, it's a nice idea. The story itself is mad. I mean, they fall down some sort of tunnel and they find an old pop group that have been chained up.
The Fabs.
The Fabulous Fabs.
Oh, the Fabulous Fabs. I do apologise.
And then they let them out and they all go to a hunt ball.
Go to a hunt ball, yes.
And they apprehend some criminals, and then they have a slap-up feed. But then the Fabulous Fabs start playing a song, and the lyrics are, "Ooh, ooh, how do you like it, how do you like it?" which is another song from the 70s. Why they're singing that, if anyone knows out there, please get in touch, but I'm sure nobody knows.
I like the fact they're saying to the kids, make up any old twaddle and send it in. And then the kids go, yeah, we'll do that. Here's some old twaddle.
Yeah. I mean, you won't get any postal orders or money or
no
T-shirts, nothing. But send it in anyway.
It's great. I liked it. But then if you move it along, the next one I wanted to just briefly mention in passing is Gulliver's Troubles.
Well, why do you want to mention that one?
Just to warn anybody else off of looking at this, because I just think it's terrifying. So this is like a child who's very tall.
Yeah, the very tall child.
He's terrifying. He's just this thing.
This lanky monster.
Space sage body horror, nightmare horror.
Yeah. Avoid
that. Yeah, so that was what I wanted to say. But next time you're reading Wow, you'll be able to know when it's coming because it's in the contents.
Now we get to the Class War
comic strip.
So Mark, of course, is our expert on these matters.
Well, what interesting. So this is the upper crusts and lazy loafers. Typical scenario.
Typical scenario number 804.
Two posh people, the upper crusts, and two not posh people, the lazy loafers. The upper crust hate the lazy loafers, and the lazy loafers try to get one over on the upper crusts.
Good luck with finding anything interesting in this.
Well, interestingly, let's see how this goes. This is a reprint. So this is a reprint of a comic from 1974, first appeared in Whoopee in 1970.
So this is like lots of years old.
Well, it's only 9 years old at this point. About now, it's over 50 years old. Yes,
but then it was 9 years.
But then it was 9 years old.
Why reprint a 9-year-old story in something from '83? I mean, were they really that pushed?
I guess they were. Well, I guess they get in about 6 or 7 years' time, when Buster is on its very last legs, it's all reprints, and we know that reprints have come in other comics we've looked at. The idea was that you could reprint a strip from up to 7 years. For at least you had to wait 7 years. So when we looked at Barry and Boy, that was 7 years, because the theory was, well, no kid is going to be reading a comic for 7 years because they've grown out of it by then. How wrong they were. But I mean, it looks quite nice. But my proposal is the reason they did this because they had to have a class war story in this comic.
Otherwise, it wasn't a proper funny comic.
Exactly. But then maybe just class war was over by 1983, so they had to go back to the 1970s to get some.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There's no blooming drama strip in this thing.
There isn't. No, they've all gone, haven't they?
Well, why is that? I'm slightly annoyed at that.
Well, when we get to spare parts, let's go to spare part kit.
There's very little to say about the upper crusts and lazy loafers, really.
Wow, it's new. Wow, it's fun. Wow, it's wow.
Wow, the new Fun Pack comic with the young Dracula, Adam and his ants, and spare part kit, plus a free funny face for those crazy looks. Wow's out now.
Wow, now.
Because spare part kit kind of is an adventure strip because it's drawn by Robert Nixon. Did Robert Nixon draw 12.5p by Tonic Boy as well?
Yeah, I think so. It looks very, very similar. It's almost the same character. Actually.
Yeah, it's in that sort of vein, isn't it? So spare part kit is interesting because it's a kid who has spare part. I don't know whether he removes his own limbs.
I don't think so. I think he puts these bionic limbs over his normal limbs.
Thank goodness, that's right.
And then he looks all big.
The opposite of Gulliver and Gulliver's Troubles is this weird thing with incredibly long legs. And he's like a normal sized kid with massive thighs and massive
muscles.
It also looks a bit creepy and weird.
It's weird, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he's always followed by these spies from some sort of peculiar neighbouring country.
The
Zablonians. And they seem to have gotten into this neighbouring country via a pipe. That's what they seem to be saying here. If you look at this, they seem to have come down a pipe.
Right, yes.
The spare part kit drops this large weight on said pipe. And he starts complaining about his pipe.
He does, our pipe. I hadn't noticed that.
And the spare part kit says, what about your pipe? And then there's almost, thank goodness there isn't an enormous argument about the pipe. Because that would take up pages.
Pages and pages.
But luckily they've edited it out. Nevertheless, it is a peculiar strip.
I had not noticed the whole pipe business.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I can take or leave it, really.
I enjoyed it. It's interesting to see this kind of adventure strip happening because the whole idea of this is that the Zablonians are trying to steal spare part kits, spare parts, so they can use them for their athletes in the Olympics.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'm pretty sure that would not have got. I mean, maybe these days, who knows what the International Olympic Committee would let go. But in this, what happens is the story goes on until the Olympics in the following year.
It stops when the Olympics take place.
It stops when the Olympics take place. Yeah, but how will that guy read that? This is supposed to stop when they get to the Olympics, but the Olympics weren't in 1983.
They must have been around that time, weren't they?
Well, the Olympics are in even numbered years.
I've no idea. Does anybody out there know? I expect they do.
If the International Olympic Committee are listening, if you could let us know. But yes, apparently what happens is
01 584
801 8005. But if you go to, but what happens? Yeah, at the end they get to the Olympics, and then the story stops because it's like going, oh well, the Olympics have now happened. The Zablonians were not able to use. I don't know if Spare Part Kit himself took part in the Olympics, which would have been cheating.
Yeah,
I think.
Perhaps we're reading too much into this.
Or perhaps not enough.
Then you've got a nice little feature which seems to involve Wow TV, which I thought was a nice little concept. And it's just silly news stories. For example, from Bagley Brothers Circus, we hear that Boffo the Clown has had to send his car back to the makers as one of the doors won't fall off. You know, nice little jokes like that, which I would have liked as a 13-year-old, I think.
Well, it's two Ronnies sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit of a laugh there.
And Ed McHenry draws it. It looks very nice indeed.
And then we come to something called Country Cousin that you wanted to cover.
I wanted to talk about this because it's just...
This is something similar to something else we've covered as well. I mean, I think we've had this sort of character in a number of funny comics.
Yeah. So it's like he's a country bumpkin. Yeah, because there was one in...
There was one called something like Country Bumpkin. And of course you've got Bumpkin Billionaires.
Yeah, yes, of course.
Bumpkins all over the place.
So the idea is that the country cousin is a young lad from the countryside and he's living with a family who live in a city. And clearly the father of his family hates the child, doesn't want to, just resents him being there all the time. And what happens is they go to the theatre. So because this is not a reprint.
It's not a reprint.
It's not a reprint, but it reads like something from the 30s.
This is so old hat.
At the local theatre, and then there's like this sort of double act going on, where one bloke says, "Can you tell me the way to London, yokel?" And the yokel says,
"It might be that way, and it might be that way." Ho 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 ho! That's a really good joke.
That's not the end of the joke,
isn't it?
That's not.
Why are they laughing at it?
I know. That's what I thought. I thought, what? I don't understand.
Well, they're laughing at the setup.
Let's try it again, and I'll go from the start, and then we'll get to the actual punchline over here.
This is so confusing for an older person.
This is why I thought I'd bring it up, you see, because it's fascinating. This is only the first couple of panels.
Yeah,
so I'm playing.
Let's do it again. So
just to paint the picture, I'm playing a toff wearing a top hat
from the city.
A city gentleman.
I'm playing a country bumpkin.
We're
both on stage. We're being observed by this family. Let's see what happens.
Here we go. Can you tell me the way to London, yokel?
I don't rightly know, sir. It might be that way, and it might be that way.
Country oaf, don't you know anything?
I knows I bain't lost, sir, like ye be.
There's
the punchline.
There's the punchline. It was just on the next...
They're all laughing at the setup.
Because we did it so brilliantly, John.
Look at them there. Yeah, this has to go on the socials, because otherwise, I'm sorry, you won't be able to understand this complicated.
Even with a dramatic recreation of it.
Well, we're doing our best, aren't we? But there do seem to be several levels at work here. So this joke has now been resolved.
Yes, that's the end of the. And I'd like to imagine
Dr. Mark.
In my expert opinion,
if anyone knows about this, you.
Yeah, in my expert opinion, as a doctor of comics, and despite what the Johnny Domino podcast have said, if you listen to the Johnny Domino podcast, they accuse me of going on about being a doctor. I rarely mention my PhD. No, my doctorate.
Just because you've got a T-shirt with it on means nothing.
Just because I changed my bank card to say it. Who won?
Anyway, Dr. Mark, I know you're contractually obliged. I've got to call you that from now on.
That is in the contract and henceforth.
But so this particular joke, has that a resonance today?
What does it say about modern Britain?
Modern Britain, as we look back. But you're right.
But John, are we not all saying? I knows I bait lost, sir, like he. Isn't that really what's at the root of our culture?
I mean, 1983. I think I pretty much remember this joke word for word in Benny Hill in 1983.
Oh, it would be, wouldn't it? Yes.
And it's like, but yeah, again. it's this weird harkening back to vaudeville, to
is
variety.
vaudeville, yeah.
Variety did not exist in 1983.
It certainly did not, no.
But when you think about it, that's the sort of thing Benny Hill used to do. He did like this sort of variety act on television.
You're right.
It was in 1983, but it was harkening back to the the 30s, I suppose. Which is what they're doing in this little kid's comic for some reason.
And then they come out of the theatre and Dad's wearing a raincoat and a hat, which no Dad wore in 1983. And Mum, hooray, hooray, what do we see but a mother wearing a headscarf? As is always right.
It must be a funny comic.
It must be a funny comic.
Be a funny comic.
But then they go and so the dad who resents this country child being there at all,
he loathes him.
He
Absolutely
hates him.
Yeah.
And they go to a kitchen. They go to the shop window that is selling kitchen goods. So the dad says, "I don't think country folk are half as wise as writers make out." And the child said, "Yes, they are, Uncle." And the awful uncle says, "Oh yeah. Well, why did they cook on such horrible cooking ranges?" So two things. One, what's that got to do with anything? Nothing. And the cooking ranges he's putting out are Argus. And he's like going, he's saying like, look at these terrible, terrible cookers that we used to have in olden times. It's like, these will cost like several £1,000s to buy now.
I hope you're following along at home.
Yeah. Well, so he's basically pointing at like some incredibly expensive like kitchen ranges that people...
And saying, why didn't country people have those?
No, he's saying what he's saying is country people did have those incredibly expensive old cooking ranges, not these wonderful modern 1980s gas cookers and it's like, what?
I missed that.
You see, it was worth digging into this, wasn't it?
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I had no idea there was so much in it.
So much in it.
As they used to say. Mainly when referring to the TV Times. But then, country cousin, he stands up for himself. He says they didn't have anything else better like that.
They were fools, if you ask me. The food must have been awful. Oh, he's horrible.
Awful? My granny's grundle cakes were very popular.
And then the mum says, "Grundle cakes? They sound interesting. Have you got the recipe?"
Yes, Auntie, this is what you do. There's the father, scowling. he's deeply engrossed in his newspaper. Anyway.
Well, he's pretending to be, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's pretending to be, but he's looking furious. He's looking daggers.
Anyway, so soon...
Well, this is turning into a dramatic recreation.
This is a proper dramatic read. I don't know if we've ever done this before.
Well, here they are, everyone. Grundle cakes. Like to be the first to try one, Dad?
Oh, very well. So he's not looking forward to this. He's horrible, this guy.
He's vile,
absolutely dreadful guy. Yeah. Then he takes a mouthful of grundle cake and says simply... "For grew awful. How did you country folk ever eat them?" "Oh, we country folk never did. We used to serve 'em to city folk who called us fools."
Ah, there you go.
Ho, ho, ho. No wonder they were popular. And there I'm afraid we must leave. Country cousin.
The evil uncle apparently breaking his neck to get his head under the sink there.
Grew. He says grew. So we got there in the end.
So class war is put to one side.
This is more complicated than Popeye.
City versus rural life, though, that's where the battle is taking place.
You've got the city life, you've got the rural life, slugging it out. And once again, the underdog pulls through. Well done, country cousin. He lives to fight another day.
It's unlike the uncle who I assume... we put lots of poison in them grundle cakes, sir.
Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, we've battled our way through that page.
Right to the end of the comic.
We've come to the final page. A bit of colour at last. Barney's Badges is the very last strip of WoW comic from 1983. And this is Terry Bave. Is that how you pronounce it?
Terry Bave is the gentleman's name.
So we're getting quite familiar with a lot of these artists through doing this podcast, and Terry Bave turns up every week, it seems to me.
It seems to, doesn't it? We've got a little bit of sound effects.
Listen to that, a whole book.
We've got a book called Cartoons and Comic Strips by Terry Bave, in which he wrote his reminiscences of being a comics artist.
Lovely. So we're going to have a look at that and tell you all about it at some stage.
He said because basically what happened is Terry Bave drew them, but often his wife Sheila would write these comics.
Because he couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. I think in French comics the tradition was that the husband would draw the comics and the wife would ink them.
What happens if the wife didn't like comics? They had to do it anyway.
They had to marry somebody else. He said, "But I like the comics, so you must be an inker." She goes, "No, I'm an architect."
Your old-fashioned attitudes are coming out now.
And it says, so here we go. Sheila and I created and submitted 1 or 2 original ideas.
That's not how you spell Sheila.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, carry on.
Sheila. Maybe it's Sheila. I don't, anyway, I'm going to say
Say
Sheila.
Sheila. For the benefit of the tape, he's saying Sheila.
Sheila.
Okay.
One of Sheila's have been selected for inclusion.
Yeah.
Barney's badges.
Oh!
Prompted by the fact that at the time, get ready, here it is, here's how this strip was created. Youngsters appear to be wearing all kinds of badges.
Youngsters appear to be wearing all kinds
That
of
was
badges.
the inspiration behind it.
That was the inspiration behind Barney's badges, ladies and gentlemen. We brought it to you here first.
And if you read this book, it's like going, basically every single strip that Terry and Sheila Bave did was inspired by them seeing something going, oh, we'll make that into a comic. But what I love is, this is very, anybody who reads this book, Terry Bave is kind of is the lovely old granddad. He's sort of like a sweet version of John Shuttleworth, an even sweeter version of John Shuttleworth. Oh. And he says, in fact, I even made my own badges, proudly stating, it is fun drawing to give away to visiting children.
That is sweet.
I love the fact he just says, it is fun drawing.
Oh, that is so nice.
Yeah.
He's right. I can't argue with him.
Can't argue with him. It is fun drawing.
Well, that's lovely. I mean, there you go. You've got a detailed explanation of the inspiration behind Barney's badges. That's not something I thought I'd ever find out.
But here at the Funny Comics Fan Club, you will. We'll bring it straight.
All the news
Nearly
as it
50
happens.
years
But, I mean, it starts well, doesn't it? It starts well with the word eek. Always good to start with a sound effect. So Barney, he's got a lot of badges, as one can tell from the very title of the same. He's covered in badges. His jacket has got a lot of them. And in fact, this the origin story is that he went to a jumble sale, as discussed a few weeks ago.
Yes, indeed.
And a funny, strange, mysterious woman gave him a load of badges. And she said, oh, have some badges. And he was like, thanks.
Is that what she said?
Yeah. And so, thus, he's got all these magical badges, you see. And so it's quite an unusual story, I think we can say.
I think we can say that.
I don't think it's as unusual as Country Cousin, but Barney's wandering along. He says, eek, one of my badges has come off. Irk, another good word, it's my Green Peter badge. Can you guess what that was a parody of?
No idea. Magpie? Something like that?
Very, very similar. So his Green Peter badge comes off, and these badges, they enlarge as soon as they come off his jacket, it seems to me. And then he says, it can make anything out of old egg boxes and double-sided sticky tape. I think we'll have to have this page on the social, because otherwise, again, everyone will be lost.
And there are arms coming out of the badge. The badge has become enormous, and it's grown arms as well. But this isn't the point of the story, is it? This isn't really. This is just the start.
What is the point of the story?
This is the start of the story.
That's what I was wondering.
Because then what happens is this weird badge thing gets together some cardboard boxes and sticky tape and builds a robot.
Yeah, so...
Which then proceeds to wander off down the high street.
Yeah. You don't get that in Dickens, do you?
I've not read all of Dickens, but I think we're safe there.
I think there's very few people called Barney and his badges in there. But yeah, so this box robot starts wandering down the street and getting on Barney's nerves, to be quite frank. Just saying things like, I can paint, I can tidy, I can choose television programmes, I can dust, I can sew. He's getting a bit too big for his boots.
It's a forerunner of Alexa, isn't it? This is the future that we're looking at. This is AI gone mad.
This robot, though, he's not a modest man.
No, he's not, is he? He's very
And
rude,
so Barney's getting fed up after 5 seconds with this
yeah.
robot walking down the road.
I mean, he's not going, he's at no point going, flipping out, it's an actual robot. He's like,
Made out of cardboard boxes.
This is annoying.
He's going, I can't stand this. I was expecting a much nicer robot than this idiot. So then he says, perhaps another teleprogram badge will help me here. Then he gets another badge off his jacket, which enlarges again, and it's his Rent-a-Spook badge. Now, what is that a parody of? For anyone who knows 80s TV shows, Rent-a-Spook.
Is it Children of the States?
It's Rent-a-Ghost.
Oh, of course
it's Rent-a-Ghost. So the jester on this badge, he casts a spell on the robot. This is getting, again, confusing.
Yeah. But I don't recall ever happening in Rent-a-Ghost.
It's mad, isn't it, this story? So, the badge, I hope you're following along at home, the badge casts a spell on the robot made out of boxes.
Yeah, it's causing a gentleman's hat to fly off his head in the background, which is nice.
You see that in the background there. And the robot disappears as a consequence.
Mm. Oh,
It's gone. It's gone completely, says Terry. It says Barney, I'm sorry, not Terry. So the robot has disappeared, Let's get that straight. The robot is completely gone. Where has it gone?
Do you want to work this out from this image? Well, John, it appears to me...
Where do you think it's gone, Dr. Mark? Where do you think?
It appears to me that the robot has gone into the Houses of Parliament.
It's certainly implied.
It's very much implied. Where the noise, the effects come out and going, drone, waffle... And what does Barney say? What does Barney say? Now this is get ready. If you thought class war was a bit too political, get ready for this. Barney says,
Well, not completely gone, but no one will notice a boring robot in there. Hee hee. So the implication is that the robot made of cardboard boxes has been transported into the Houses of Parliament where nobody notices it. However, it's very much an implication only because we're not shown this.
We're not shown this.
If you look at on the socials, the last panel of this page shows the Houses of Parliament. It shows Barney on the other side of the river. It's implied that the robot is there, but there's no actual evidence.
It's a very skillful bit of comics work there, I think. Very nicely done.
I don't think it is.
What?
I don't think it is. I think we should have been able to see the robot within the Houses of Parliament.
Out of the dispatch box.
For it to work.
But then how would Barney have made his satirical comics?
He could have still made it. There could have been, for example, a see-through section of the Houses of Parliament.
Not realistic.
Into which we as readers could see what was going on. There's the robot. There are the politicians. It would have made sense to me.
Or if there was like a picture of the robot speaking from the dispatch box or something, and then like an insert of Barney going, aha, that might have been.
That would have been better.
Dear Terry and Sheila Bave, I've got their addresses in this book, I think. So
excellent. Just say, you remember Barney's badges from 1983? We could have done better. No, I mean, I like the strip. It's nice and colourful. It's a great idea. It's completely insane, which I also like.
And it's funny because it looks so cosy. Look, is that Terry Babe sort of this nice round cosy style?
Yeah,
and then when
really nice traditional looking comic, and it's a nice way to end WoW comic. So yeah, we enjoyed that.
I think maybe what we should do is maybe we should get in touch with Rebellion again because they still haven't answered or have other many proposals for new strips and film versions. Say, look, guys, what you really want is an updated version of Barney's badges, which is more realistic, where the child has lots of badges, and like in a dramatic episode, one of the badges comes a bit loose and he nearly loses it, but doesn't.
That certainly would be less expensive than this version.
It would be, yes. It would involve less robots and limbs coming out of inanimate objects.
Yeah,
surely that's what the kids are after.
We can only see. We can only find out what happens. So overall, that's the end of WoW comic. What did one think overall?
I thought it was quite jolly. It felt like it was packed with stuff.
It was packed from end to end with things.
And everything looked good because I guess there's not many comics going now. So you've got you've got your Robert Nixons, your Mike Lacey's, your Terry Baves, all these different people it's like this is kind of like the lifeboat that's got, and it's like, well, we can have all the great Frank Diamond's in it as well, isn't it? Boy Boss, which looks fantastic, gorgeous.
It all looks great. Yeah. I can't deny that it all looks great. I mean, you've got Tom Patterson doing some good teammates here. I love his art as well. J. Edward Oliver. You've got everybody of any note really in here. So we have to give it the thumbs up, I think.
I think so. Your favourite strip?
Favourite strip? Let me just have a look. I mean, anything that J. Edward Oliver does stands out for me. So I really liked TV Quiz Kids.
It's good, isn't it? I'd say yes, I agree with you.
It's something to do on a rainy day as well.
It is, and there are good puzzles.
They're very good. Yeah, he obviously put a lot of thought and care into this. Wasn't so keen, I have to say, on Country Cousin. But who knows, maybe we're missing some of the levels.
I think maybe, I think give it a few more reads and I think we'll uncover more depth to it than even we found so far.
Yeah, maybe we'll have a part 2 next time.
Yeah.
Or not.
So all talking of next time, all that remains is for me to hand over to the comic we'll be looking at next time, and next time we'll be looking at Sparky comic from 1973.
Gosh, that's going back a few years, Dr. Mark.
It certainly is, Mr. John Dredge.
Yeah, wow. Oh, I'm looking forward to that already.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one, I think.
Fab. Oh, great. I'm just looking through. I can't wait, listeners. I can't wait.
So, and also, yes, so that's it from us. I mean, if you've enjoyed the podcast, do like, you have to say this, don't you? Do like and subscribe.
For goodness sake, don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Don't just do one of the two.
And tell your friends. If you have any friends, tell them. If you don't have any
listen
friends...
to this, I'm not sure whether... You never know.
Go out and meet some people you might like.
Yeah, tell them about it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you so much.
So much.
And until next time, it's good night from me.
And it is also good morning from them.
Good night.
Hello.